Hello, my friend. Thanks for joining me at the Instant Traffic Cash Flow System course. Now, this is your first lesson, and it's here to present you really the big picture of how to put it all together. Okay, I've attended way too many courses where it became obvious in the end that the reason I couldn't make anything work is because the instructor really didn't know where we're going, didn't provide the students anywhere where they're going. So I'm going to put all this together first up front and really make sure you understand how you're going to proceed and give you a few ideas on how you're going to get started. Okay, so let me first tell you a short story that I like to tell before I get rolling into things, so you're just more familiar with me as your class instructor, so to speak. You know, I did 22 years in the Navy, so I have a military background. But the big thing that comes out of that background is the coaching and mentoring I learned. The whole leadership structure of the Navy is built on mentoring and really building people to replace you, right? So I don't necessarily need you to replace me here, but that's the level that I worked at in the military, and that's why I believe that I'm successful with helping other people like you move ahead with your business. Now, when I recovered from my depression and started my way back up, I started with nothing, and you know, when that was one of the problems I had when I began. Let me tell you what I started with. First, I was going to buy real estate. All right. Now, it is possible, but I couldn't find the mentorship that I needed, and I blew whatever money I had on the wrong places. In the end, with that real estate effort, I ended up with nothing. So I couldn't get leads. The primary method for them was putting up these bandit signs, right? As they call them, the signs in your neighborhood saying we sell homes. And those do work in where they're allowed to be put up. Where I lived, I didn't have a car. I didn't have money to buy signs that were going to be ripped down and thrown away. So the other method that was taught was cold calling. And I was never very good at that. I knew nothing about selling at the time and getting into places. But I did it, and I got into places. And I actually got contracts, like 7 of them. And they all failed. People backed out of them and wouldn't stick with me. And then I came to realize what I needed was more leads. But I decided to try a different avenue. I would buy and sell notes, real estate notes. Now I was successful in selling a couple of those. But all in all, I got a lot of junk leads. I got a lot of wasted time talking to people that really didn't have anything good. And so once again, it came down to not being able to get in contact with enough of the right people. So I started, while I was doing the leads, I started believing that I could use the internet to do this. And I thought it would be relatively easy, right? I make a few ads, I put it up. I even hired a PPC, pay-per-click agency to do some advertising for me. It got a few leads. Cost me money I didn't really have. I was working all day trying to make enough money so I could be sure I could pay for this advertising. And in the end, it just really wasn't getting me the sales or the closings that I needed to continue that way. So that's how I transitioned to realizing I needed to know how to get leads and customers online. It is the most expensive way to do things, but it's also there's also a correct way to do it, and it's not just something you just go online and just do. Maybe there's a handful that actually did that and it actually worked, but I'm betting that you, like me, maybe you even tried it and it hasn't panned out for you. It didn't work for me, I could tell you, and that's actually what drove me to traffic, because it is the backbone of your online business. Without traffic, you have nothing online. If you're dependent on your online business making you income, then you have to get the right people to your business. All right. So that, in the end, I ended up building first a website to start practicing traffic with. It was called Your Traffic Starter Blog. And yes, that is the domain name that you use to get here. This used to be a free website where I did all the practice and all the training and all my self-taught stuff, bought all the courses. In fact, I don't think there was a traffic course I didn't buy. And it became kind of what do you want to call it, an infatuation with me. I was seriously overbuying the stuff, but it became to the point that I was going to learn the traffic, and then I was going to be able to share with you how to do it correctly. I wanted to figure out what all of these courses were doing wrong. It wasn't that they were lying to you that these traffic methods worked and they didn't. It was something quite different. It was that they weren't putting it together with all the pieces, putting things in place in the right order, making it clear what you had to do and not do, and that's what I transformed into the instant traffic cash flow system, to enable people to actually start from nothing and build to any level you want. You're going to start with, I assume you know nothing. In case you're not aware of it, about 60% of the people that come looking for courses like this have never done this before. So therefore, the first modules assume you know nothing. So there's a little demographic for you, okay? And if you don't know, the demographic for most people doing this course is 45 to 65 years old, and slightly more males than females. All right, so there's a little demographic knowledge up front if you're trying to work in online business. And financial business as well, those demographics work out pretty much the same. All right, but that's really not the point. So the instant traffic cash flow system is all about making it so you can follow in a logical progression. I call it layered traffic because in the Navy we have a defense method through the Cold War. We called it layered defense, where you had your most basic elements in close, and then you had a line of defense, and then you had another line of defense, and then another line of defense. Fact was, it was truly offense, what we called a defense. But it was a way to always have a fallback when something didn't work. As you get more complicated further out on the outer rings, the outer layer or the top layer, it's much more difficult to sustain it. So it's likely going to fall back. So but you don't want to be out of business because that complicated tactic isn't working for you, right? You want to be able to keep going, and maybe there's a little drop in what's going on, but you're not out of business, okay? And that's where the layered traffic came from, building traffic so that you have your basic levels, and then you start building more complicated levels into your business and your marketing. So that, I hope that makes sense, and that frames it for you. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to transition onto a screen so that the slides are encompassing your whole screen, and we're going to go through the process up front so that you're ready to move ahead correctly, so you understand exactly how you're going to move ahead and how everything's going to be presented to you, how you're going to get your website, your done-for-you website, what it all means to you, and why it works. I remember thinking when I figured this all out, is like, this is so obvious. Why did it go wrong? It actually fell back on my entire way of success in the Navy. Building the basics strong, and then getting more complicated, and then always exercising the basics made things work. It works in sports, it works anywhere you're working a team. A business is a team, sports are a team, it works in the military as a team. And why I failed to do that when I went online, I don't know. I failed to see. I guess I was caught in the hype like a lot of us were, that this is easy, anybody can do it. And you know, easy is a relative term. This is easy, but only once you know how to do it right. Once you have everything in place, it is truly easy. It's like for I don't know, let's say sewing. Sewing is not difficult for those who sew all the time. It's relatively easy. Flying a mission off an aircraft carrier is not difficult for those who fly missions off of aircraft carriers all the time. It's relatively easy. All right. And the same goes for building your business and executing it once you know how to put it all in place with the right pieces, the right tools, the right framework, and making it all happen. All right. So does that make sense? So let's go ahead now and transition over to the desktop in the presentation, and I'll continue from there.
Okay, so now we've transitioned onto the desktop here, and so let's proceed on through. So here's what we'll cover. We'll look at what's necessary, how much traffic do you really need, a case study to help set you in the right framework, and then how we'll go about getting started and getting you rolling. So what's necessary? Well, first and foremost, you must be creative. Your mind must be open. So it doesn't mean ignoring the framework whenever you choose. You must stay within the framework, but be creative within the framework, okay? So if you decide a step is too hard and you don't want to do it at all, then you are probably destroying yourself up front. You're deciding to be creative by eliminating a step. And the big steps in the instant traffic cash flow system are there because they are necessary. They are the base that makes it work. It doesn't mean you can't change to meet your business needs within that framework, but you can't eliminate it. So you must stick with the framework and be willing to build on it. Okay, use your creativity. You must have the right mindset. The idea that you can't do something because when you first look at it, it looks difficult is a very bad mindset. I live by the idea that I can do anything, all right? I'm not smarter than anybody else. I'm a human and so are you, and I could be a brain surgeon if I wanted to be, but I don't want to be. That's the problem. It's not that I can't, it's that I don't want to be. I'm not interested in it. I'll let somebody else cut up on people's brains, but I'm not interested in that. I could build rockets to the moon if I wanted to, but I don't want to. I'll let somebody else do that. Okay, so there's no I can't. You got to eliminate the I can'ts. You decided you want to build a revenue online through either a total online business or adding to an existing business with your website. So to do that, you have to have the mindset that you can do whatever's necessary. And the right answer on how you can do it might be that you hire somebody else to do it, okay? So I know longtime business people understand that, but a lot of folks like me who were just starting didn't fully get that, even though I spent my life pretty much outsourcing to other people in my departments in the military. I didn't get that application when I first started, all right? So you also need to want this more than you want to breathe, okay? So success doesn't come on a whim, and it also doesn't come overnight. So your mindset and wanting it more than you can breathe doesn't include wanting to make $1 million tomorrow. That's not how it works. You have to have incremental goals, want to get them more than you can breathe, and understand it comes one goal at a time, and celebrate each and every one of those goals as you achieve them, okay? Celebrate it. When you get a website done, celebrate it. When you find the keywords you need, celebrate it. Those are all very important steps, even if there wasn't money attached directly to it, okay? Your business is more than just money. It's about having the pieces in the right place. It's about having what people want. It's about providing a service that other folks were willing to pay you for. And ultimately, when it's all assembled, it does make you money so you can do more of it. All right? So I suggest you also take a look at Actually, Doug Bench has put this together in very much layman terms, but Dr. Richard Resick kind of put it all together. You know, since the 21st century turn, there's been major changes in the brain. And Dr. Richard Resick wrote a new book about the actual science that's really been discovered about called the new brain. And new machines, new technologies have actually analyzed that. You maybe have heard of this, that positive affirmations change the way you think. So if you need to change the way you think, a positive affirmation is what you do. For instance, so one of my limiters was that I didn't know how to make this money, or didn't know how to make my business successful. So I started an affirmation: my business is successful. My business makes all the money it needs. I can make more money every day. So I started doing these and doing exactly what was recommended, repeating a series of affirmations. They're always in the present, and they always represent having what you want, and just repeating them out loud 3 times a day at least, when I'm walking, in the mirror, so forth, to reprogram my brain to believe what it didn't believe, because you had to get into your subconscious. And this is actually a physical reprogramming, okay? This is not just a whim that people think might really work. In fact, it really does work, and it does actually, and it can be demonstrated with scientific equipment and scans, new scans that, I'm not talking about MRIs, it's beyond MRIs, and I can't remember the name of the machine, but it shows exactly what happens with the brain. So Dr. Richard Resick wrote up this in the New Brain, and Doug Bench, he actually writes it in a layman's term. All right, so the mindset is very, very important. So what's necessary? So let's first understand who's here to understand what's necessary. There are retail business owners, there are affiliate marketers and CPA marketers. CPA marketers and affiliate marketers are actually the same thing. They just some use a different term because of the network they find their products in. Multi-level marketers, that's actually affiliate marketing, just doing it with multiple levels of affiliate marketing. Online auctioneers, information products creators and sellers, company team members, drop shippers, e-commerce store owners, they're all here. And even though it all has different names, guess what? You all have to put the same things together. The core levels put it together for you. And so I encourage you to share within the members area using the comment sections below the lessons, to ask your questions and share with others. That's very important. The thing about the whole thing is everybody in here has questions. Many of you have exactly the same questions. Some of you have the question that somebody else has, but you don't know it until you read it. You might be like me, where I see a question that somebody writes and go, oh, I never thought of that. I wish I had thought of that earlier. And that's the kind of ahas that occur when other people present their questions. So please use the comment area for that. So that's who's here. You all have a lot in common, a lot more than you might actually imagine. How much traffic do you really need? Do you really need thousands of visitors every day? I kind of wrote it twice, but it's very important, because your mindset tends to be, and you'll learn this as we go through, that when you're selling your product, you have to sell what people want, not what they need. You have to deliver what they need along with what they want, but that's why that's in there, kind of in here twice. Do you really need thousands of visitors every day? How much do you really need? Well, let's take a look at a case study, and you'll see the answer. I think this will frame it for you exactly the way you need to understand how much traffic you really need. All right, so let's take a look. The case study is on a small franchise store that used the instant traffic cash flow system. The store if you understand franchises, right? There's essentially a home office for franchises. The home office controls the rights, the sale of the rights to license the name of the store and the systems of the store, and then collects royalties from the owners for the use of the system in the franchise. And franchise home offices provide some level of marketing, usually for the individual owners. So this one store is a very large franchise. It has 4,500 competitors in the U.S. So they all license the use of the name. So they all have exactly the same name, right? So that's now this wasn't McDonald's, but for instance, McDonald's is a franchise. Each restaurant is privately owned, so every single owner uses exactly the same name, McDonald's, right? So that's how it works in a very simplified fashion. So the goal of this store was to take their most profitable, potentially profitable revenue center and move it online and make the sales online. As it was, nobody in this franchise was doing this. So this was an opportunity to literally steal customers from the competitors in this franchise. The item sold for $400 per sale, right around $400. But I'm going to leave it at $400 just to make it a round number. And prior to going online with this, probably one sale was made every couple of weeks, and even though it was the most profitable, potentially profitable revenue center. And there were certain periods of the year where the franchise chose nationally to advertise it stronger, where the sales increased. But in general, throughout the year, they were selling just one every couple of weeks. So this store chose to put that online and to make it possible to make the sale online. All right, and then went to work with the Instant Traffic cash flow system, Instant Traffic University. So the website was built, everything was assembled, and then there was a little bit of tweaking and building and applying the traffic methods to it. And this store focused principally on search engines, and with the effort up front of doing the system, getting the right keywords to focus on, and finding the right message, they were able in about 2 months to go from no sales online to sales of one of the $400 items on average every 1.5 days. So this works out to about $7,000 additional store income per month. So in the case of a retail store, a sale online is something that can be tracked from either the payment being online or as a result of an online call. So it was set up so we knew the calls were coming from people who are actually talking directly from the website or actually completing the sale on the website. That was obvious. And a retail store has that advantage sometimes, that they can right up front have somebody on the phone. But nonetheless, the sale is directly a result of the search and the person getting on the phone deciding they didn't want to do the sale online, but preferred to complete the sale because they wanted to ask questions by talking to somebody. And sometimes they would actually go back and finish the sale online, and other times they would just finish it over the phone. But how much traffic did it take to get to this simple, what seems like a simple milestone? Well, it was about 100 visitors a day, okay? And that's not very much. Okay, matter of fact, it was an easy level to attain. Overwhelmingly, it's sustained completely by search engine traffic. It's because it's put together correctly. The right people show up, so they end up with the right buyers. Now, the rest of the story in the $400 item is that it's a recurring item, okay? So that's another reason why it was chose. So once these folks were in, then they were also customers that didn't really have to be marketed for. You just needed to perform your service to keep them. And so that's another reason it was so highly valuable, and why the store owner didn't set some astronomical goal per month to achieve the results that were required. All right, but you see, with about, I think the store actually averaged between 80 to 100 visitors a day to achieve this level, but it wasn't very much. Okay, so yeah, we market these things talking about getting thousands and thousands of visitors a day because that's what everybody believes they need coming into it. But as this case study shows, and virtually tons of other case studies show exactly the same thing, that is not what's required to achieve your goals. All right? So why did it work? Well, the store followed the Instant Traffic University. The pieces were assembled. They determined the actual profit potential for that particular market and researched the market. The challenge is that the franchise had a canned way of saying it, and all the stores were saying exactly the same thing, so it wasn't really attracting attention. So this store had created their own way to talk to their own customers in their own location, and once they got that message tweaked with the conversation the customers were actually having, it began converting exactly where it needed to. People had no doubt they had found what they were looking for. The market was well researched using the Instant Traffic University methods. These were all free to accomplish. The website was built. It was tested. Things were tracked. And of course, it went to the bank and just continued to repeat the process and sustain it. And then add more advanced layers of traffic. Now, the interesting thing is this store got satisfied with the search engine results and didn't want to put any more effort into other advanced layers. On occasion, the store used some of the advanced layers, but not consistently. In times where either more sales were possible or sales dropping off occurred, that's when they would add some more advanced layers for a brief period of time. But in general, the store was a small store, didn't want to commit tons of resources to generating the traffic, and was just satisfied. Of course, they're making $7,000 a month, so they obviously more than paid themselves back over and over again for the use of the Instant Traffic University. All right, so does that make sense? So let's take a look now at how much traffic you actually need. So first, you're going to need to determine your goals. You need to really think about this up front, and then figure out what's going to be the price point of your typical sale. For retail stores with existing products, it's easy. For affiliate marketers, it's easy, although sometimes you make a big mistake and you choose the low-cost ones thinking that they're easier to sell than the high-cost ones, and that's not true. It's all about putting the right product in front of the right person. So I would encourage you to eliminate that mindset that you cannot sell more expensive stuff, even if you're an affiliate marketer. You most certainly can. It's all about the right audience, the right product, the right message. But let's just, for an example, let's just take a $97 item. And let's say you want to make $3,000 a month as your first milestone, okay? It's not a huge milestone, but it's realistic. And you'll see why it's realistic here right away. And we'll make really low-grade assumptions, all right? Let's assume 1% of the visitors buy, all right? That's a really terrible sales conversion. And so in order to make $3,000 a month with a $97 item, you need one sale per day, right? That is sales revenue of $3,000. So if you want to actually make, through online sales, $3,000 in profit, you may have to bump that to 1.5 sales per day, or maybe 1.25 sales per day, or something in there, depending on what traffic method you choose, all right? So what does this require? Let's just stick with the one sale per day. What does that require? Well, it requires 100 of the right visitors at your site, people that would actually be interested in your product, to show up at your site each day. Not thousands, not tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands. None of that is necessary to achieve $3,000 a month income as your first milestone. All right? So is all that making sense? Is this kind of making it look like it might be a little bit easier than you thought? If you can remember, determine your goals and keep your framework in the terms of achieving one goal after another and celebrating those goals, then you're going to feel success. You're going to achieve success, and you will want to go on day after day. All right, and then once you get to this level, and it's starting to work, you repeat it. So you continue to test, track, and repeat what's working, all right? And then you'll find you'll actually increase your sales conversion, right? So let's just say you continue at 100 visitors a day, you fix your message to be better and more attractive, and you go to 2%, right? Well, you just doubled your income. You just went from $3,000 to $6,000 a month just by increasing your sales by 1%. All right. So you get the picture here. What really matters here? The sales conversion is what really mattered. So it's not unrealistic with the right product and the right message to get conversions as high as 5 or 6%. So what happens if you actually got to 5%, right? Now you're at $15,000 a month, all right? So you could be doing two things as you progress: increasing the amount of traffic and increasing the sales message, improving that sales message, okay? Make sense? So, getting started. How are you going to get started? Well, number one, remember, you're going to stay within the framework. You're going to be creative within the framework. You must embrace testing and tracking. It's very, I'm going to say it's very easy, and you're going to go. You may be thinking, how can you say that? But you'll see that it really is not that difficult, and you can do it. You don't need to be some technical expert. If you can copy and paste something into a space on a web page that somebody shows you, then you can test and track. So, and I know you can do that. It's only a matter if you want to do it. If you embrace list building, you will magnify those results. That's one of the ways you'll increase that 1% conversion. Now, believe it or not, the franchise store never fully embraced list building. They kind of buried their list building in their website. It was built into their website, but they buried it and never embraced it. I don't know why. They just didn't feel like it, I suppose. But if they had, they actually would have increased the number of sales on the item they were focusing on, plus other items. So expect many things might not work perfect if the first time you try it. In fact, I'm going to scare you right now. Usually your first money you spend on the first traffic you buy is more of a test. The test is likely to not be profitable, but it's going to show you how to get profitable quick. So you'll go beyond where maybe you lost money or you just broke even to profiting very quickly if you stick within the framework and you're creative within the framework and you embrace the list building, the testing, and tracking. And then I want to remind you, you can claim your consults. You have two, one to help you get started, and then one as you progress. It's probably best done when you have completed the Instant Traffic University, but your platinum consult, where we look at where you are and what you might think is a hard points and what direction you might take. And then, of course, your done for you SEO optimized traffic magnet website. This is designed to be delivered to you. It can be delivered after level 4. I recommend you complete the Instant Traffic University first, so you understand everything you want. This is custom for you, so you're going to get what you ask for. So if you ask for it too soon, you may not get. You may 3 weeks later decide you didn't get what you wanted, but in fact if you got what you asked for, you got what you wanted that when you asked for it. So we're not becoming your webmaster on this. We're building a website. We're going to, no matter what, it's going to be fully SEO optimized. But some of the input is based on you and your market. So that's why I want you to finish the Instant Traffic University first, at least level 4, but hopefully level 5 before you place your order for this, so that we can make it right for you. If you have some content done when you place your order, we'll put that content in for you as well. And we have other services. If you check our Think Big and Grow Media website, thinkbigandgrowmedia.com, if you'd like to. This isn't to sell you other services, but some of you want more things done for you than others, and that's fine. So I want to just make sure you know you have other options. All right. So that's it for the orientation. And coming up next, you're getting started on the Instant Traffic University Core Level 1. I'll see you there.